And today we're going to go over windows. How do we switch between them? What are they? And how we kind of interact with them, right? So what I always say is please watch our previous videos. We do build upon the next, so what we're currently watching now, what we're currently learning will be easier to understand, okay? And this is especially true for this video. If you hadn't watched this video, please go ahead and watch the frames, the iframe video. That'll make this lesson a little bit more easy to understand, okay? So Windows, what do we mean by Windows? Well, not Windows like an operating system, but more like a browser window, right? We have a window here. If I select this button, which is part here on our practice site for syntax, and we can find that by, if I'm here on the home page, if I select this yellow icon here and come down to where it says window pop-up model. There we go. Now, if I select this button here, our Instagram page will come up in a new window, right? A brand new window. Now, if I wanted to run my code and leave this window and come up into this window, I'm going to have to switch between them, right? A lot like what we did with our iframes. Very, very similar concept, right? So, but there's a few things we need to do, right? We need to be able to switch between them. And if we watch our iframes, like I said, we know we need the switch to method. But we also need to get the handle of the window. And I'm going to explain what that is just shortly. If you see here, this ID, right? This set of numbers and letters, this kind of big mess right here, right? So what this is actually a handle. That's what a window handle looks like, okay? And we went ahead, and I'm going to go through this code here so you can see. We went ahead and coded this. You can see it's a little bit of code here. I didn't want this to be an extremely long video if you guys have to see me slowly type this for you. But here it is. We're going to go over it here just in a second. I'm going to explain everything line by line, and please feel free to pause, kind of write this down if you need to, and take your time and get this down right, okay? So this is a window handle, right? This is an ID that belongs and is special to each window. So this window handle belongs to this window, right? This main page one we landed on here. Okay, now this is going to be done dynamically. It's going to be done at runtime. So if I have another window, a separate window, it'll have a whole separate ID, even if it's this exact same page. Okay, now that I click this button and our Instagram comes up in a brand new browser window, this browser window now has an ID as well, right? Its own handle. Now, how do we go ahead and capture those handles? Well, we have a method called getWindowHandle and getWindowHandles. And as you can kind of tell, we either capture one handle or all the handles, right? So if I have just one page, right, or even if I have two, and I say getWindowHandle, it's going to get just one handle, okay? If I have multiple browser windows and I want to get all of the handles, right, I want to capture all of them, I would use getWindowHandles. And this is how that's written, okay, guys? getWindowHandles, all right? And we see that here. Now, just like what we did in our previous video when I was showing you how to work with radio buttons, how we had a list, right? Well, in here, instead of a list, we need a set, okay? This is just Java collections. We need to have a set, right? And we're working with string here. And I'm going to name it all window handles, okay? We're capturing all the windows and getting their handles. And this is how this code is ran, right? We simply just type, as you see here, driver dot get, and you see window handle and window handles. And as I mentioned, window handle only gets one window. Get window handles gets and captures all of the window handles, okay? So that's what that's doing. Now, let me get up here. Here is just the URL to our page here, our model window practice page. We're navigating to it. You know our system.set property and getting our Chrome driver together. That's not news to you. Now here's a tip. Whenever we're switching between windows from one window to another, it's always best to use this method, getTitle, okay? And if you had remembered, I gave you guys an assignment a little while back. I think it was, I believe it was our, yeah, I think it was our practice session here, where I had you guys do a kind of a little conditional statement where I had you guys get the current URL and I believe getting the title as well. I showed you those methods. So get title is just going to get simply the title of the page, okay? And we see here that I ran the code ahead of time so I can show you here in the readout. Our title for the page is syntax website to practice Selenium Webdriver, right? That just happens to be the title of our page here, okay? Now, why I say it's good to always get the title when you're switching between one window to another, it's a good validation point, okay? So if I'm switching between one window into another, once I capture the title, if I save this as maybe a string and like this right here, this title here, if maybe I save that as a string in my framework, this would be a good validation point where I can maybe make sure that the titles are equaling each other out, okay? So that's just kind of a good safety check here. All right, now here I have a web element that I'm clicking, and all it is it's just this button here, this follow on Instagram, to go ahead and populate with this window here, all right? Now, as I said, we have two different methods. One that says getWindowHandle gets one window handle, and the other one is getWindowHandles, which gets two or pretty much all of the window handles, okay? Then this brings us back a set, right? We're gonna get all of the window handles, all right? Now, what I've done here is we have this coded. It's just showing us that we have our dot size method on our all window handles just to see how many window handles we captured. And you can see here there's two, right? There's the one, the main page, and the second one that would pop up. Okay? Now, back here to the code. This is an iterator. Now, our students here with Syntax who take our lessons, a few times a week, you guys have seen this before, right? This is just one way to kind of loop through our set here, okay? Now, what we did is we iterated through them, our window handles, which is our set of the window handles that we captured, and we have this right here where we said it.next, and we went ahead and saved that as a handle here, okay? Now what this is doing is it's iterating through our set, and then this is going to return us the ID of the main window. Sorry, can't spell here, guys. Apologize. Our main window, and what we're going to do is go ahead and iterate to the next one, and it's going to go ahead and get us the handle of the child window, okay? It's going to capture the child window handle, and we can see that it did that here, right? So we captured all the handles, we iterated through them, and we printed them out here just so you can see. We have these two printout lines you can see here of us. We just put a little comment here, ID of main window, ID of child window, and we, again, I said we stored it as a variable here. Now that we have our ID for our main window and our child window, we can now switch between them, okay? And if you had watched my iframe video, you would have known about the switch to command. So how we write this is driver dot switch to, see this option here, that shouldn't be new, dot, and then instead of default content or frames like we did in the last lesson, what we're going to do is come all the way down to where it says window. We're going to switch window, okay? Let's go ahead and put a semicolon on the end to close our statement, and then we can pass an argument. And what we would do is we would just store our handle as a variable, and you can see here that we passed it as our argument, okay? So that's what we did in this line of code right here. And guys, please feel free to rewind and kind of backtrack if you need to, if you're a little bit lost here, all right? And I'll kind of go over it again a little bit quickly, okay? Now that we switch to the child window, and again, you guys should know about the switch to command, we're going to go ahead again and get our title for our child Windows page, okay? And again, this is a good practice as a validation point when you're switching between one window and another, right? So let's say I have a test case that I need to validate things on this window, right? This page. Well, it would do no good if I wasn't actually on this page, right, to get the title. Okay? It wouldn't do any good. So that's a good validation point. We can also do get current URL too. But again, get title is a good validation point. Now, I have this code here. This is just another kind of thing we can do, little codes, a little method here to interact with the windows. What I've done is just said maximize. So it's basically going to act like this screen here and kind of maximize the screen where it's a full view. Okay, so that's what that does. And I'll show you how to write that. We can go ahead and do driver.manage window and we have a bunch of them. We see full screen here. We can do get size. There's all kinds of different things that we can do with our window. There's a bunch of methods we can do, but I'm going to do maximize as I did here, just to maximize that screen. Okay, so why I did that is just to show you that I've switched control, switched focus, right, from the main window, and now I am in the new window. Okay, and then I'm going to pause for just a little bit, just so we can kind of let the code pause so you can see that we've made the window maximized and we're in the new window. And then I'm going to go back to my main window by taking my main window handle and passing it through a switch to and then window argument here. Just the same as we've done to switch to our child window. Okay, so that is Windows, guys. That is how to switch between them with our switch to method. And I showed you a couple little extra things in here as well. Okay, so again, window handles gets one window, window handles gets all the window handles. Okay, and we put them in a set. We iterate through them. Then now that we iterate through them with our next method, we can store them as a variable. Then we switch to them, right, with our switch to command, and we're going to switch the window, right, not frames, but window, right. We pass it as a argument here. All right, that's it, guys, and let's go ahead and run it. So we see here that we should land on the page, new window, now it's maximized, and now we should go back. Yes, here we are, guys. We're back on the main window, okay? Now, one more thing I wanted to show you. I'm going to close and quit this. One more thing I wanted to show you is when we switch back to our main window, we have this, again, this handle of our main window. But if you remembered in our iframes video, we had a method called switch back to default content. And we don't necessarily have that same method with our windows, but what we can do if we didn't want to pass the main window handle, what we could pass is just an empty string as I've done here. So what that'll do is act pretty much the same way as going back to our default content with our iframes, but this is for our windows, by switching between the windows. So if I save and run this again, everything will happen, right? It'll go to our child window, it'll maximize it, wait 4 seconds, and then go back to our main window. So let's go ahead and run. There we go, maximize, here it is, and it should go back to our main window. There it is. All right, guys, well, that's it from me. That is Windows, and that's how we switch between them, and a few little extra tips and tricks, all right? And again, please pause, rewind, watch it again, take notes, and make sure you guys practice, all right? Well, that's it for me, everyone, again. Happy coding. See you on the next one.